Welcome to this episode of Horrific History and Hauntings. I'm Beth.
And I'm Ramy. We're your hosts, here to talk about the stories that the history books ignore.
From horrific epidemics and ghostly hauntings to the catastrophes and tragic events that have sickened humanity.
Yeah. And just so you know, we're recording this immediately after pressing the stop button on the last episode you heard.
Yep. But I do have a short today in history for this one too.
Okay.
It is, as always, well, not always, but as before, February 4th.
As always, it's Groundhog Day.
It's always February 4th. On February 4th, 1962, the first U.S. helicopter was shot down in Vietnam.
Vietnam. You're not an old veteran.
I've always heard of Vietnam.
That's because you lived around a bunch of old veterans.
So it was one of 15 that was transporting South Vietnamese troops. And that's as short as it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's sad still. I mean, it is a very quick start to a horrible set of events, that whole story, would, if we'd have gotten into the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Technically, it wasn't a war to us. There was no official declaration.
Well, I don't know, but a bunch of people died, so I'm going to consider it a war myself.
The president can send troops places, but that don't mean the war is officially declared.
On to part 3 of John Wayne Gacy.
Ah, the crawl space people.
In part 2, we talked about Gacy's second marriage to Carol, his high school friend or his sister's friend, and the escalation of his horrific crimes. He continued to sexually assault young boys and men, and the ones he murdered, he buried under the crawl space and one in the garage. Carol finally decided to investigate the garage and found a bunch of creepy shit stuffed down there.
Polaroids of injured men and boys, actual cutouts of not injured men and boys from magazines. I guess they weren't boys in the magazines. That would have been illegal even then.
Yeah.
Things that would make any housewife concerned about her husband's devotion to her.
Mm-hmm. And he also made her, said, we're not going to have sex no more on Mother's Day.
She confronted him with all that stuff. And then on Mother's Day.
And then she was like, good, okay.
He's like, I'm cutting you off. Like that would work.
Oh. She also noticed more horrible stench and insects and things that come with decaying bodies. So she divorced him finally and left him alone with no supervision. We're going to talk more about the victims in this one. As I said, I'm going to try to get through as many, but probably not all of them.
The police never got through all of them properly, so.
Yeah. On April 6, 1976, John Wayne Gacy murdered 18-year-old Daryl Sampson, whose body was later found in the crawl space of Gacy's home. A few weeks later, May 2nd, 1976, Gacy killed 15-year-old Randall Reffitt. Randall's body was discovered on December 25th, Christmas, 1978, also in the crawl space. He was identified through x-rays on April 11th, 1979, and the cause of death was determined to be asphyxiation.
He seemed to like asphyxiation, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it was so personal, he occasionally stopped.
Yeah. Within just hours after killing Randall, Gacy murdered 14-year-old Samuel Stapleton, who disappeared while walking home from his sister's house on the same day, May 14th, 1976. Samuel's body was found in the crawl space, and a bracelet on his body is what helped his family to identify him. His identity was officially confirmed on November 14th, 1979, through x-rays on his head and from teeth records.
He did put quicklime on a lot of these bodies.
Yeah.
Which also made sense because it was hard to identify a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm. In June 1976, 17-year-old Michael Bowman vanished while waiting for a train. During their investigation, police discovered Michael's fishing license in Gacy's house. His body was found in the crawl space like most of the others, and dental records were used to confirm his identity. The ligature used to strangle Michael was still around his neck when the remains were recovered.
Oh, speaking of ligature, I found a set of leather shoestrings in the old house, and I think I want to make a necklace out of them.
Okay.
They were unopened. It ain't like I think they were used to haul a corpse or anything. It's just
Okay.
I've been hunting everywhere I was like, I'm going to order a piece of leather off of AliExpress because I don't want to spend a fortune on Amazon for leather. And then I found those in the old house, and I was like, yay, thank goodness for old house hunts.
Crafting.
You can find a whole bunch of old stuff in that old house of ours. Useful stuff. Hopefully no corpses under the...
I'm afraid the roof will fall in on me.
Oh, no.
When I go in there.
All I ever found in there was like mold and...
Groundhog.
You got a toilet from there once.
Yeah, I did. It's working quite well. William Billy Carroll, age 16, disappeared shortly after Michael Bowman on June 13th, 1976. Billy had a history of minor legal trouble, including time in juvie for theft and possession of a firearm.
Whoa, kid.
He was also known to run an escort service, which involved teenage boys, which is probably what led him into meeting John Wayne Gacy.
How old was the guy again?
16.
Wow.
In July 1976, 18-year-old David Cram survived his encounter with Gacy. He even briefly moved in with him in August.
How does he keep doing this?
I don't know.
Paying them? Maybe it's escorting.
Hmm.
I don't really know. I have no problem with escorting people. I mean, if they're kids, it's a problem. But do what you want to make money. But this moving in with the guy who tried to murder you, though, is a little much.
Yeah. One day, Gacy attempted to use his usual handcuff trick on David, who agreed, only to be attacked after getting the cuffs on. As I said, David somehow managed to escape the cuffs and get away, but he continued to live in the house afterward.
You might not have had any place to go.
I'd find me a shelters. I don't know if they had those then.
I have no idea. Considering where they're at, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah. A month later, Gacy appeared in David's bedroom doorway and told him that he wanted to rape him.
Excuse me, sir?
Yep. He then said to him that he didn't know who he was, as in, you don't know who I am, and that he should just give Gacy what he wanted. So David fought him off, and Gacy just simply walked out.
Well, he probably assumed he'd have another opportunity to murder him soon.
Yeah. So David decided to move out after this incident, but he still continued to help Gacy with little jobs from time to time.
He clearly had problems with money, I do believe.
In August 1976, John Wayne Gacy claimed the life of another teenager, 16-year-old James Hackinson, also known as Jimmy. Jimmy was a runaway who had last contacted his parents on April 5th. He informed them that he was in Chicago. His body was found among the others in the crawl space. And it wasn't until July 2017, through advanced DNA technology, that Jimmy was finally identified. Detectives believed that it was probably just hours after the phone call that Jimmy was killed. Following Gacy's arrest in 1979, Jimmy's mother traveled from Minnesota to Chicago, thinking that her son may have been one of the victims found in the crawl space.
She was right.
Identification was mostly done with dental records at the time, and unfortunately, she didn't have those records because I want to say this is the one that the dentist retired and destroyed all of the records.
Oh, man.
One of them did that.
I'm not sure
hearing
about it, yeah. What a wild thing to do.
But I'm not sure if that's the one or not. I know it did happen, but I don't know if this is the victim that it happened to. I guess we'll find out. Sadly, she passed away in 2008 without ever knowing the truth for sure about her son's remains.
That is sad.
Yeah. On August 6, 1976, 17-year-old Rich Johnston vanished after last being seen going to a concert. He had promised to call his mother afterward, but she never received that call. His body was again discovered in the crawl space. He was lying on top of Jimmy and another unidentified victim's body as well.
I was wondering when he was going to start running out of space.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell by now, Gacy's killing spree was escalating quite quickly.
But there was no repercussions, even when they got caught. It's like he just got away with it at every turn.
Yeah. Or just served a
when he did get caught,
little time. And yeah. On October 25th, 1976, he killed two friends, 16-year-old Kenneth Parker and 14-year-old Michael Mariano, I think it's Italian, Marino. There we go. On the same day. So now two at a time. In Michael's case, the police response was flawed. They dismissed his disappearance as a runaway. One officer even tried to tell his mother that he saw Michael fleeing but was unable to catch him. So Michael's mother paid for a private investigator and even went as far herself to go to dangerous areas to find her son.
Nice mother.
Yeah. After Gacy's arrest, she submitted Michael's dental records. However, he was not identified as a victim of Gacy's until March 1980 after exhuming his body. There were also details in this autopsy that had her wondering if this was actually her son after they confirmed the identity.
Wow.
Such as the body had a broken collarbone, which Michael didn't have. They also found Native American ancestry, which was not Michael because he was of full Italian descent.
Yeah.
And additionally, Michael had not lost a certain tooth before his death, but the body was missing that tooth. Now, I can understand the broken collarbone because maybe Gacy did that.
Or maybe
the missing tooth. Maybe Gacy did that. I don't know, but
I have no idea how. I think they mean a healed collarbone.
Okay.
Which could have been something he just suffered through.
And
I've seen people do that, just suffer through a serious broken bone.
Yeah, didn't Dad break his leg and not know until a long time later?
Yeah, so I've seen it happen, so that's possible. But the tooth, I guess, could just fall out. There's a way around this, and if she just wanted to believe it or not believe it, that's on her now. I don't know what to say.
In 2012, DNA testing proved that the body exhumed from Gacy's property was in fact not Michael.
Oh, golly, no.
Despite this, authorities refused to acknowledge the mistake in their identification. They attempted to offer Michael's mother another DNA test, but the sheriff's office wanted to conduct their own. They still continued to deny any errors, though. It was found that both boys had been raped and strangled. Their bodies were found buried together in the crawl space. I want to say that eventually they did find Michael. I don't know. There's so many victims. It's kind of hard to keep track of.
Oh, you imagine being the one having to go through it all.
Yeah. Just one day later, on October 26, 1976, Gacy murdered 19-year-old William Bundy. He was known as victim number 19 until his remains were identified in 2011.
Bundy. There's a Ted Bundy.
Yep.
He done similar things.
Yeah. He was born on October 22nd, 1957, so he disappeared just 4 days after his 19th birthday. Because he worked in construction and was learning to be an electrician, his family feared he was one of Gacy's victims.
Yep.
His mother came forward but was unable to provide the dental... Oh, this is the one that was unable to provide dental records.
Oh.
Because his dentist retired and destroyed all his patients' records for some reason.
The confidentiality, and he didn't know what to do with them, I guess. I don't know.
I would pass them on to... save them. You never know. His identity was confirmed, though, through DNA provided by his sister. After his remains were exhumed, both samples of DNA were sent to the University of North Texas, and that's where they confirmed the DNA was a match. On December 12, 1976, 17-year-old Gregory Godsick became another victim of John Wayne Gacy's. Gregory received a job offer with higher pay than the job he worked at where he met Gacy. On December 11th, Gregory went to Gacy's house to collect a paycheck and was never seen again.
Gacy was getting free labor. He was doing horrible things.
Yeah.
And still running a normal business by doing them.
Mm-hmm. Gregory's mother contacted Chicago police, who documented her report, but they didn't do much else. The following day, Gregory's car was located in a parking lot, so his mother then called Gacy, who claimed Gregory had never arrived for work. Gregory's wallet was later found in Gacy's home, and his body was, again, as usual, discovered in the crawl space. In January 1977, 19-year-old John Zink vanished. Gacy claimed John was going to sell him his car, and while discussing the deal, Gacy used his rope trick. When John was reported missing, police searched for both him and his car, and eventually they spotted the car at a gas station, being driven by teenage Michael Rossi. Rossi was trying to leave without paying for gas.
Oh, no.
And when confronted by the police, explained that he worked for Gacy and that he could explain everything. So they went to talk to Gacy, who come up with a story telling police that John had sold him the car for money to run away, and that he had given the car to Michael, who was working off the debt to pay for it. At the time, Michael lived with Gacy, and it was later found out that he had enlisted the help of both Michael and David Cram to spread quicklime in the crawl space, hoping to cover the stench of many decaying bodies.
I remember hearing about that part.
On March 15, 1977, 20-year-old John Prestige from Michigan became another victim of Gacy's horrific killing spree. Again, found in the crawl space. September 15, 1977, Gacy murdered 18-year-old Robert Gilroy. Gacy was getting even more ballsy with choosing his victims because Robert was the son of a Chicago police sergeant who only lived 4 blocks away from Gacy. So I'm thinking that Gacy at this point was thinking he was uncatchable.
Or he was trying to get caught.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. September 25th, 1977, Gacy killed 19-year-old John Mowry, who was a U.S. Marine and had done work for Gacy. Gacy's murder rampage continued, with 22-year-old Russell Nelson killed on October 17, 1977. November 10th, 1977, 16-year-old Robert Winch was Gacy's victim. 20-year-old Tommy Bowling, a father, was murdered. His body was found in the crawl space with the ligature still around his neck. December 9th, 1977, John Gacy's victim of that day was 19-year-old David Talsma, who was also another U.S. Marine found in the crawl space. And that's the end of part 3.
Well, that was a quick one.
Mm-hmm. There's still more victims, but actually part 4's kind of short too if you want to go.
I don't want to do it. I have a dog over here.
Fine. Why do you have a dog over there?
He won't stop barking in there.
Oh.
Okay. Trey, you want to do the outro? No. Okay. We are part of the Gruesome Gaming Group Podcast Network. We have 2 of the podcasts we do and a couple of YouTube channels. One where Beth plays games and one's where our, podcasts go up. So if you just want to listen on YouTube, have at it. It's also on YouTube Music. But the game one is just where we upload a bunch of game footage or occasionally live stream or something like that. We're just now starting it. The link will be in the description in the Linktree link. The Linktree link will also have all the socials. You can reach out to us. Just any way you want to reach out or follow us and see what's up, including, I might still have TikTok there. I can't remember if I have TikTok there because it went down for a while and I might have taken it off.
I have TikTok.
But we're on TikTok still as long as the app's still up when this comes out.
Horrific History and Hauntings.
Yeah, we have threads and everything. It's just, however you want to reach out or follow us. We have a Facebook group. It's a good way to do it. I'm always on Facebook. Also,
you don't care about TikTok. You should sell your phone that has TikTok on it for $10,000.
I see where that's going up there. If I'd have known that, I'd have kept it on all of them. There's 2 emails in the description, not in the link tree. You could reach out that way to either one of us. There's also a link where you can send a donation if you want to help keep the podcast hosted. We really appreciate it. Please keep leaving reviews and likes, or let us know what you think. Give us stories to tell if you have some spooky stuff you want to talk about, or just an interesting thing that happened to you. Or just say hi. Reach out. I say reach out a lot. Ow, the dog sneezed on the mic. Okay, well, I guess that's it. Thank you for listening. I've been Ramey.
And I'm Beth.
This has been Trey. Bye-bye.